Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Rhea Ripley has undoubtedly evolved into one of WWE's biggest stars in recent years. She is having a tremendous main event run on Monday Night Raw and has been in the title picture for the third consecutive year. WWE has been building a feud between Sky and Ripley for a long time. They are crafting an angle that Mommy has never overcome, the Japanese star. The storyline is getting along well with the fans. However, Triple H might have to face a Rhea Ripley problem if he does a major thing with the former two-time Women's World Champion. WWE may change Rhea Ripley's character. There has been speculation and buzz all around the internet about the Nightmare potentially embracing her old heel persona once again. While portraying Ripley as a bad guy sounds perfect, it would realistically be a big problem for her character as the face of the company. The problem with the former champion's gimmick change. Hypothetically, if Triple H turns Rhea Ripley a heel once again, it may look like the Stamford-based promotion is undermining her star power. Hence, it could even draw mixed reactions from the fans, where she might receive cheers, whereas her babyface opponent might get booed, which would not sit well with the company. Ripley's homecoming. Only 3 major premium live events are left on WWE's calendar: Clash in Paris, Crown Jewel, Perth, and Survivor Series, War Games 2025. Interestingly, Crown Jewel, Perth will be a homecoming for the former member of Judgment Day, as she is from Australia herself. She is bound to have a meaningful role on the show, given her massive fan following in her home country. Therefore, turning Mommy heel would massively backfire, especially at Crown Jewel, Perth, as her home crowd would never boo her. Instead, WWE should keep her babyface and should book her final encounter with Io Sky at RAC Arena on October 11th, and let the Nightmare finish her story, beating Genius of the Sky clean for the first time. That said, the angle suggested above is speculative, and nothing is officially confirmed. Yet, it will be thrilling to witness what plans the Triple H-led creative team has for Ripley in the coming weeks. When Triple H took over WWE's creative direction, one of his biggest success stories was the rise of Rhea Ripley. In just a few short years, she went from an NXT standout to one of the most dominant women's world champions in history. Her fierce in-ring style, Mommy persona, and role as the backbone of the Judgment Day have made her a cornerstone of Monday Night Raw. But in wrestling, no one is immune to creative missteps, and if Triple H takes one wrong turn, Rhea Ripley could go from being WWE's hottest commodity to a problem he didn't see coming. The one major thing: breaking up the Judgment Day too soon. The Judgment Day has been a goldmine for WWE. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley have been the most consistently featured act on Raw for over a year. Together, they've brought storylines, titles, and chaos to WWE programming. But if Triple H decides to dissolve the group prematurely, either by turning members against each other or splitting them up without a proper payoff, it could be the one decision that backfires in a big way. Why? Because Rhea Ripley's current aura is tied deeply to the dominance and mystique of the faction. Yes, she's more than capable as a solo act, but the Judgment Day's presentation amplifies her star power. Without that stable, her storyline direction could become unfocused, leading to overexposure or repetitive feuds. The risk of overexposure. One of the biggest dangers in pro wrestling is overexposure. Fans love a dominant champion, but if WWE pushes Rhea Ripley in a way that lacks fresh opponents or engaging angles, the reaction could shift from cheers to groans. We've seen it before. Becky Lynch's The Man run reached the point where fans wanted her to step aside for someone new. The same could happen to Rhea if her creative direction becomes stale. The Women's World Championship picture already has a limited pool of credible challengers. If the Judgment Day breaks apart and Rhea finds herself repeatedly facing the same 2 or 3 women, fans could begin to feel like they're watching reruns rather than must-see TV. The impact on Raw's storytelling. The Judgment Day isn't just a faction, it's a storytelling hub. Most weeks, half of Raw's biggest angles involve them in some way. Removing Rhea from that dynamic would force creative to find new ways to feature her, which could be hit or miss. Right now, she's protected. Even if she isn't wrestling every week, her presence alongside Priest, Balor, and Dominic keeps her relevant. Without that safety net, every segment she's in would need to hit perfectly to maintain her momentum. If even a couple of storylines fall flat, her unstoppable aura could quickly fade. Backstage politics and power shifts. Let's not pretend WWE's women's division isn't competitive, not just in the ring, but behind the scenes. Rhea's dominance has meant other women have had to take a back seat, and some might be eager for a shift in the spotlight. If the Judgment Day split leads to Rhea being just another singles star, she might find herself in booking battles with established names like Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, or Charlotte Flair. Triple H will have to decide if Rhea stays the centerpiece or if it's time to rotate the spotlight. The wrong choice could create resentment, both with Rhea and within the locker room. Fan backlash potential. WWE fans have a love-hate relationship with long title reigns. On one hand, they crave dominance and legitimacy for champions. On the other, they grow restless if the reign feels like it's being prolonged for the sake of record-breaking numbers. Rhea Ripley has been champion for a while, and while her reign still feels strong, the warning signs are there. Social media comments hint that some fans want to see fresh blood in the title picture. If the Judgment Day splits and Rhea continues to dominate without compelling threats, the mommy love could turn into mommy fatigue. The creative solution: don't break it, evolve it. If Triple H wants to keep Rhea's momentum, the key isn't to break up the Judgment Day, it's to evolve them. WWE could introduce new members, shift leadership dynamics, or even have Rhea take the reins as the faction's undisputed leader. Imagine a scenario where Damian Priest cashes in Money in the Bank and loses, causing Finn Balor to question his leadership. Rhea could step in, keep the group united under her command, and make the Judgment Day an even bigger threat. This keeps her aura intact while refreshing the faction's storytelling. Fresh feuds without losing the faction. The other big move Triple H could make is bringing in outside threats. If the Judgment Day had to defend their turf against a newly formed babyface alliance, it could lead to months of compelling TV. Rhea could feud with a returning legend like Sasha Banks or even step into intergender storylines, something she's teased before. By keeping the group intact, Triple H ensures Rhea's dominance remains tied to a larger narrative rather than resting solely on her shoulders. That's the difference between a reign that feels epic and one that feels forced. The business side. From a business standpoint, breaking up the Judgment Day now would be a marketing mistake. Merchandise sales are high, fan engagement is strong, and their segments consistently draw ratings. Rhea Ripley is a major part of that equation. If she's removed from that equation too soon, WWE risks losing not just storyline momentum but also revenue streams tied to her popularity. Wrestling isn't just about moments, it's about maintaining consistent fan interest, and Rhea's current placement is perfect for that. The final verdict. Triple H has done a masterful job so far with Rhea Ripley's presentation. She's been booked as a once-in-a-generation talent, a dominant force who feels like a genuine star. But wrestling history is filled with examples of momentum being lost because of one wrong booking decision. If he pulls the trigger on breaking up the Judgment Day without a long-term plan, he could find himself with a Rhea Ripley problem, one where a former unstoppable champion suddenly feels human, overexposed, and in need of a rebuild. For now, the solution is simple: keep her protected, keep the faction strong, and evolve the story instead of ending it. The day will come for Rhea Ripley to stand entirely on her own, but rushing that moment could undo years of careful build-up. If there's one lesson in wrestling, it's that timing is everything. For Rhea Ripley, that timing could be the difference between being remembered as a dominant champion or as another victim of WWE's sometimes impulsive storytelling. If you want, I can also create an alternate version of this that's written in a more breaking news style, like a WWE Insider report. That would make it feel more like a hot-off-the-press scoop.